Hi everyone, it's Place to Keep P here. It's only about 4 o'clock in the morning here in Australia. I just rolled out of bed. But you know what? This interview, I've got Danny Solazzi from The Characters, and I got to tell you, this man is a fan favourite. I've had so many requests to interview Danny from The Characters. How are you, Danny?
Good. How you doing, Plasticky P?
I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in to hear all your stories.
All right.
So if you want to tell us about, I know you started The Characters in 1982 and the band grew and you played the big places like the Roxy, the Whiskey A Go-Go. Man, you're a real swinger, like you're really out there.
Yeah, we've been around a long time. We started out just a little local band in 1982. Started playing some of the Jersey clubs, opening for this group called Strutter that was real popular at the time. And we were only together maybe 6 months when this guy, Billy Baker, saw us and came down and started. We used to actually go see that band all the time when we were underage. And the next thing you know, we're opening for them all over the place, playing these places that would have took us 2 or 3 years to get to. Because he took us under his wing, we got there right away. So it was a fast education.
That sounds like the Monkees. They got the 4 guys, put the money behind them, as Davy said, and bang, that's the Monkees.
Yep. So then as we started doing covers, just stuff that we liked. We actually did everything the wrong way. We only played songs that we liked that were kind of obscure. Like we would play songs from the Beatles live at the Star Club, which like maybe 3,000 people had that record total because it was like a German import and it wasn't really supposed to be out and this and that. And we would open up with a song called Sit Right Down and Cry Over You, which was an Elvis song that they covered in Germany. And so we decided we would do it, and people had no idea what we were doing. So we were doing a lot of really weird, obscure songs, but it was just our attitude, and we threw in other stuff that people knew as well. But we always took an original band approach. So then from there, we even on our first night in a club, we had an original song. We had every week we would try to add in another one, or every couple of weeks until we built up a repertoire where we could do a show just with our own songs.
I got to say, you covered Soldier of Love.
Yeah, see, that's another one. In other words, back in 1982, when we covered Soldier of Love, it was on a BBC bootleg that nobody had that except people that you would go to record shows and buy bootleg records and stuff like that. And we learned it off the Beatles version. And now like 30 years later, whatever it is, all that stuff is released. But at the time, it was unreleased stuff that you had to actually kind of do your homework to find. That was our first recording, Soldier of Love.
How old were you when you started the band, Danny?
I was 2 weeks into being 19 years old. If we would have started 3 weeks earlier, I would have been 18.
Perfect age, though.
Yeah.
I've got to say, you stand out as the girl's favourite in the band. All right, I've got to say that. Okay. I saw that interview at the Roxy. That one's a beauty.
Yeah, that was cool. One of the things since we've been locked down is it gave me a little time to go back in our archives and share some of the stuff that only I've seen. You know what I mean? Like we did that interview, 1986. Nobody's really seen it. I even forgot about it. I was looking for a song on that tape, and the interview popped up at the end, and I thought, oh, this is pretty good. I like this.
I got to tell you something, right? As you know, I'm in a band and I've written songs, not that it matters, but my biggest songwriting influences were Boyce and Hart, and I know you played with them and so forth, and Mike Nesmith, because that was my generation. I mean, I'm a first-generation Monkees fan, not that it matters, but in Australia, they hit in 1967, 1966. We're 6 months behind the US. So that's my big major songwriting influences. What are yours?
Well, those that you mentioned are great influences. Those guys, Boyce and Hart, wrote a lot of hits for a lot of people, and Mike Nesmith is a great songwriter as well. Great catalog of songs from both of those people you mentioned. I like Elvis Costello, obviously Lennon and McCartney, Jagger Richards, Elton John, Paul Simon. Just all, my whole thing is I like stuff that's got a good melody, great lyrics, and then with all those people that I mentioned, all their records are really well executed as well. So sometimes you could have a great song and not a great record. There's a difference between a song and a record. Like, A Day in a Life is a great song and a great record because of the way it's produced and all that type of stuff. So, basically, I kind of like all the people that are really the heavy hitters.
Are you influenced though a lot by like the 60s, that kind of sound a lot or not much?
100% influenced by the 60s. Everything about the 60s was cool. The cars, the fashions, the TV shows, the music, just everything. It was a magic time. I can't explain why everything lined up, but it's my favorite decade of all.
But I got to say, Danny, you look young. Not like me. I do my makeup and I use cement and a spatula. All right, I got to ask you now, how did you hook up with the Monkees? Tell us all that, because you were also in their videos. So let's start how you hooked up with the Monkees.
Well, in 1986, they did this Monkees Convention in Philadelphia, and this Ed Riley, Maggie McManus, they ran the convention. Maggie McManus ran a thing called the Monkey Business Fanzine. And it was the only way to find out any information at that time because, people that are younger don't have any kind of reference point to know that back then you couldn't find any information out about anything. In other words, there was no internet. Nobody had a cell phone. It was just, records. Even the Monkees records were out of print. So you'd have to go to swap meets and used record stores or they had like catalogs and things like that you could get through the mail and buy used versions of them. Well, anyway, so they had this Monkees Convention, which coincided with when the Monkees were being shown 3 times a day on MTV. And it was a fluke. I don't think they planned that. But by the time the Monkees Convention happened in August of '86, they were huge. They were on 3 times a day on MTV. Their record started to go back into print. It was just like this unheard of thing that, just this phenomenon that happened. We went and saw them like on their second date, I think, on their comeback tour, which was Atlantic City. And we had tickets to the convention. We didn't even know that we were going to eventually play at the convention. But I bought tickets. I wanted to go because I had been to one way back in 1980 when they had a convention, which was like 35 people in Trenton, New Jersey. It was like the second one they ever had. And I was like 16 or something like that. And like I said, I went there just to buy records and to talk to people who had the same interest, because back then, like I said, it was kind of not cool to like the Monkees. I never care what anybody thinks. I just like what I like. And, I don't care if you like it or you don't like it, So I went to this Monkees Convention, and then I knew I had met Maggie, and I had said to her, I don't know if you're going to have a band at this convention, but we would love to play at it because you can't play this kind of stuff in clubs because we didn't think there was anybody who would really care, number one. And number two, it was also an opportunity for those people to see us because we were cut from the same cloth. In other words, we weren't a hair metal band. We never fit in. In other words, whatever was going on, we were still the characters. So when grunge happened, we were still the characters doing what we do. When heavy metal hair bands we were still the characters doing what we do. When whatever the fad was, we just kept doing what we do. It was just, we never were influenced by that. But anyway, to get back to the thing, a couple of their bands had put in to play this thing, and they picked us. And it was just like, we went from playing like to the Dirt Club in Bloomfield to like 100, 150 people to like, there was like, I don't know, that day I think there was 1,400 kids there screaming their heads off. I looked over at the drummer and I said to him, we're in concert. That was that was my, takeaway from that was we had never experienced that kind of excitement and volume of people, volume of the crowd. It was just nuts.
Well, I'm just saying, if you go back to the 60s, all the crowd is screaming, "We love Davy. We love Davy." Did you cop that?
They weren't yelling, "We love Davy." No.
Who are you closest to out of the Monkees? Who did you get closest to?
Without a doubt, Peter. Peter played with us so many times. Sometimes, one time I did a gig with just me and him. He played. Sometimes he would come and play with the characters. Actually, do a whole set with us. Sometimes we would open for him. We opened for him at a bunch of different places. He was just very cool. He was, we would talk on the phone sometimes, because one of the things that was happening was that every band has their own little struggles, and sometimes we would just vent to each other. He was very what's the word I'm looking for is he was like a mentor to us, or to me personally. So definitely, without a doubt, Peter. After that, Davy actually had our records at his house. We asked him if we asked all three of the Monkees if they would be on the early characters. There was some live performances that they did, and we asked if we could put them on the thing, and they all said yes. Davy's one big request was just send it to me, so we sent it to him in Beavertown, and then I had subsequently heard that they were in his record collection and he liked them. So so Peter first, Davy second, Mickey third. We never met Mike.
I got to ask you, you were in some of their videos too.
Well, we're in Heart and Soul, and that's because of our buddy, the greatest DJ ever, Rodney Bingenheimer. We were at Denny's one day with Rodney having lunch. I used to go see Rodney. We lived in Burbank, California for a year, and I used to go see Rodney all the time. Sometimes all four of us would go, but I used to go all the time, and I would go and have lunch with him or dinner because he would I would always hook up with him and just sit and talk about all this stuff. And he mentioned the video shoot, and he said you guys should go, and we went down and we got in the video. So that was really all thanks to Rodney Bingenheimer, who was the only guy that played us in L.A. I mean, he played our song Marianne. He played a bunch of our other songs. We owe a debt of gratitude to Rodney Bingenheimer. We could never repay him. He is number one.
Tell me about Boyce & Hart. You played with him too, yeah?
Yeah. As soon as we did the New Jersey Monkees Convention in August of '86, 3 weeks later, a month later, we went out to LA and we played that one too. Somebody had seen us at the one in Philadelphia and recommended us for the one in LA. We got on that one. They got the tape of Marianne to Rodney Bingenheimer, who used that song as kind of an advertisement for the Monkees Convention that was coming up, saying these are the characters they're going to be playing here in a couple weeks. There was another band that was from Jersey called Dramarama, very successful band, and Rodney put us on opening up for Dramarama at the Roxy 3 or 4 days before the Monkees Convention. And so basically, Rodney opened a lot of doors for us. But the way we got into the Heart and Soul video was just we were just having lunch with Rodney, and he said, you should go down and be in this video, and they used us. In fact, besides us walking past them, I guess they had ordered guitars to be in the scene, but our guitars were already up on the stage because we're actually in another scene where they're auditioning or they're going up to the guy to try to get a part in the video, the Monkees. And you see us in the background playing our guitars like we're auditioning as well. And then instead of using the guitars that they ordered, they used our guitars. So Mickey's playing my Gibson White Melody Maker, and Peter's playing Larry's bass. And I don't know what I don't remember whatever happened to I don't think Davey used anybody's guitar.
Danny, I've got to say, you got a lot of Monkees connections. Now I want to know, I'm going to jump one step. How did you go from the Monkees to having an album produced by Chip Douglas in 2 months in Hawaii? Was it? Where was it? Where did you go?
Yeah. Well, because we had been part of this Monkees scene at this point, somebody suggested we contact Chip Douglas because we needed to make a record at that point. We had a backlog of songs. And we didn't have a record deal, but we wanted to make a record. So I contacted Chip Douglas, and I sent him a tape with some songs on it. He liked it. He said, I got a 5-year-old kid. His son's Tyler. I can't really leave here, but if you guys could come to me, we could do it here. And so we all got on a plane. We packed up all our equipment in this big metal box, which was the dumbest thing we could have done because we could have just rented equipment there. But we were just like, it's got to be our sound, which I don't know if that made a lot of sense. But anyway, yeah, it was called an LD3 container. We put like everything, the kitchen sink in there, flew it out to Hawaii. We lived in this house that had no furniture or television or telephone or anything. We were sleeping on sleeping bags for 2 months on the hardwood floor. It was something else.
I've got to tell you, I'm glad you're laughing, right? There's a lot of Batman fans out there, and you know what question I'm leading to. You had Julie Newmar. So let's talk about that.
She would appear at these Monkees conventions as well. And so what we would do is we would play the Batman theme, and she'd come up and dance around us and stuff like that, and then do her interview. So we met her a couple times. She appeared at a couple of them, and she was just the nicest person, just unbelievable. It was just so cool to be able to do these things and meet these people that you watched on television, and now they're on stage with you. You know what I mean?
I'm going to ask you something now. You got something next to you there. You want to show me something?
Oh, no. This little monkey guy is always in our video, and this guy has every Beatle record. That's pretty much it. And another thing too is I know you're from Australia, so you call that a knife? That's a knife.
That's a knife. So you've been watching
that's my little Crocodile
Dundee.
Yeah, that's my Crocodile Dundee skit. Thank you.
You'd love it down here in Australia. Have you ever been here?
We've never been there, but we would definitely go once this whole thing.
You'd love it down here, I'm telling you. You'd love it. It's freezing at the moment. Now, listen, I know how big the characters are. Now, we're getting into serious rock and roll here now. Who do I know that opens up for acts like Joan Jett and the Blackhearts and the Kinks? Now, to me, just to get to that state is huge.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. I mean, I am so influenced by Joan Jett. In my early days, the guitar that I play is a Gibson White Melody Maker, which now they make them. But at the time, the only way that you could get it is if you actually bought an old one from the 60s, sanded it down, painted it white, because they only came in cherry and sunburst. So anyway, I liked her guitar so much that I went out and I had it copied just like hers. Our basic approach was kind of like our early approach was, it was sort of a cross between the Beatles and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. So if you took those two elements, put them together, threw a little bit of the Monkees in, threw a little bit of Elton John in, threw a little bit of Simon and Garfunkel, whatever it was, all our influences put together. So, so I used to go see Joan Jett all the time. And one day I heard they were doing a shoot for her video for I Love Rock and Roll. And so I went down with her photographer, and I got in the video for that. I think I was only 17 at the time. Then we took our song Marianne. We sent it to Blackheart Records. Her manager, Kenny Laguna, liked the song. He really liked it. Called us up. I kept calling the office back, and I could never get through. So I thought, well, maybe he doesn't like it that much. And then 2 years later, Kenny and Joan are on Rodney Bingenheimer's show. Again, always comes back to Rodney Bingenheimer. So they're on Rodney's show, and he plays Marianne, and Kenny says, I tried to get a hold of this kid. I love this song. And the next thing you know, Rodney puts me in contact with Kenny, and we start opening shows for Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. When we were living in L.A., he said to us, there's a show in Poughkeepsie, New York at a place called The Chance, but you guys probably wouldn't want to fly out here just for that. And I said, oh, no, we definitely want to fly out there just for that. And so we came back from Los Angeles and did a show in New York just for, flew out there just for the one show. And then from then it went on to, we did I think in total about 19 or 20 shows with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts through the years. The way we got the Kinks show was Ray Davies was also managed by Kenny Laguna, and I was working at Blackheart Records at the time, and I would drive Ray around New York City. And I was a huge Kinks fan. I mean, like just beyond huge. So one day I remember me and Ray were in the car, and we had to go to a print shop to pick up a script. And he says, I've written a play. And I said, yeah, I know Arthur. It's especially that's, Australians know about that, There's a Kinks Australian connection as well, right? So anyway, they were touring in support of the UK Jive album, and there was some dates on the East Coast, and I asked Kenny if we could open for the Kinks, and he said yeah. So he gave us a show up in Maine, and it was like, it was surreal. Just like opening up for Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, opening up for the Kinks, having Mickey, Peter, Davy on stage with us. It kind of in your head, it doesn't make any sense. You think to yourself, how could this be? How could, a little band like us, how could this be happening to us?
Because you're great. Now, I've got to say, hey, Danny, I'm serious now, okay? All right. Yeah. Now, if you look back on your career, okay, and I saw how young you were.
Yeah.
And you still are young, okay?
Okay.
Now, what I want to know is, look back on your career and tell me one of your fondest moments or two of your fondest moments from your career.
That first Monkees Convention where the roof just, got blown off the building was pretty good. First time playing in LA was really good. Opening up for Joan, opening up for the Kinks, a bunch of stuff. Joan singing on our record. She sings on a song called "Last of a Dying Breed." I mean, that's just, I never thought that would happen in a million years. There's so many things. We open. I mean, just like I said, even just getting to go out and record with Chip Douglas. I mean, I always said this: Pleasant Valley Sunday and Daydream Believer, in my opinion, are two of the best produced records of all time. The production quality, they're great songs, and on top of that, they're just perfect as far as the production aspect of it goes. Everything is exactly where it should be, and it's just magic.
Danny, I've got to tell you, the song Steam Engine. You know the story with Steam Engine and Chip Douglas, don't you?
I know there was a big expensive session, and Green Gems didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah, and he's got the rights because he kept it and he paid for the session, I believe.
Well, I'm going to tell you an interesting story.
Yep.
Around that time, there was a couple songs that they recorded, or Chip was trying to record, that I don't think ever got a monkey vocal on them. One of them was called "Windy Day at Kitty Hawk," and the other one was called "Today." And when I went out in '96, I went out in '87 with the Characters, and then in 1996, I think it was '96 or maybe it was '97, I went out by myself and worked with Chip, and we recorded those two songs because they've never been heard by anybody. Then last year at Christmas time, Chip put out a song called "Christmas Time," which is the same melody as "Today," only with Christmas lyrics. And he put that on YouTube, and it's out there if you want to look for it. But we do have recorded versions of "Today" and "Windy Day at Kitty Hawk" that eventually, when I can figure out how to get the Characters on iTunes and Amazon Music and all that other stuff, we'll probably put that up eventually at some point. But yeah, those were recorded at those sessions, and they never saw the light of day. But we did versions of them, and they're actually very cool songs.
Now, I want to ask you, now we talk about Characters, what do you want to tell the fans? The stage is all yours. What you think's going to coming up, or what you want your fans to get into now? Just give them a message.
Well, I mean, the main thing that we want to do is get our stuff on all the digital platforms so that people can hear them, especially at this time when everybody's kind of stuck in their house. We were working on songs for a new record, but obviously we can't do that at this time. But maybe what I'll do is I'll go on YouTube and play some of them acoustically. And basically just we love it when you guys check into our own songs. That's the most satisfying thing is when people tell us they like our songs.
Can you name the three favorite Character songs? And I mean, you wrote most of them. Give me your best three, 1 to 3. I know it's like babies. I know how hard it is, but I got to have your top 3.
Well, Marianne's a big one only because, we thought that was going to be our big hit. Like I would have even been happy being a one-hit wonder if that was like, you guys are the guys that did Marianne. Yeah, whatever happened to you guys, I'll be fine with that. Marianne, I like "Last of a Dying Breed," "Steal a Glance," "I Have Not Yet Begun to Fight." There's a bunch of them. Oh, "Until We Meet Again." That's one I really like.
Now, Danny, I'm going to ask you something, and this is from the fans in Australia. We're all locked up. Now, if you'd be
Yeah, we're
kind
locked
enough,
up here too.
I know, but listen, if you'd be kind enough to grab an acoustic guitar and play Mary Ann or maybe just a bit of a Monkees song as we go out with the interview, that'd be great.
Well, I didn't know you were. I'm not even tuned up. Let me get it out of the case and see if
Yeah,
it's tuned
that's
up.
all right. If you got to go out of screen, it's okay. I'll keep talking.
Hold on.
Okay. While he goes, we'll just continue talking. Gee, this is fun, everyone. So hopefully he'll come back and sing a song. And I was going to show him this. And I was going to say, can we talk about these guys? Oh, look, he's back. Here's your friends. They're all here.
What's that?
Your friends are here.
Yeah, what is that? Oh, it's a comic.
It's a Monkees comic.
Yeah.
An original one from 67.
Nice.
See Mike down there?
Oh, yeah, I see him, though. All 4 of them on the cover, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, I'll just do the intro to Mary Ann, and then we'll go, okay?
Yep.
Mary Ann. All right, Plastic LP.
Is that it? Plastic EP. Hey, we'll see you again.
See you again.
See ya.
It's a knife.
Bye.
See you later.